Hello, welcome to another tonal landscape oil painting demonstration. This is your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy. And the painting I'm bringing you today is called Forest Road 8x10. Painted this, I don't know, about 3-4 days ago. Pretty happy with it, and I'm gonna be sharing some insights and stuff with you about it. Starting now. Okay, we're working on it. We're on some hardboard. We've been working on a lot of MDF lately, and the hardboard's just not quite as smooth. It has a subtle lump to it, which isn't that discernible once the paint strokes are on there. It is a little more resilient, I will say, to things like water and breaking and things like that. But if I was going by surface, I'd go MDF rather than HDF, so medium density hardboard. Now, I did prep it with about 3 good coats of house paint, tinted just the color you see. The name of the color is soil. And I was after kind of a raw umber. It has a touch of red to it. It's a lovely color to work on. It's been great. Now the color we're painting with, of course, is burnt umber, and that looks super red. In a lot of cases, burnt umber can be neutral-ish, but it has a lot of red in it, and you really see it here. In a lot of my previous paintings, where I have a redder board, I might add red to the burnt umber, but it's been perfect with this last batch of paint I got. I'm super stoked with it, and it's been very good ground color for just about anything I wanted to throw at it. Now that's important to me because little bits of that color are going to peek around. And recently, I think I had a painting on the channel where I just worked right on hardboard directly, which is how I worked for a long time. I was quite used to it, but after working on the painted hardboard, I think it's a much nicer surface, and I think the bits peeking around being a more consistent painted type of color adds more consistency to the painting. It's sometimes that hardboard, when you get it damp or something, it can be a bit saturated, and I mean, it works fine, but this is slightly better. And as you're proceeding along your painting journey, you take the gains you can get. They get a bit smaller as you go on down the lane, but on the plus side, you do less bad paintings. Now, let's talk a bit about this painting. So I had this reference set up for a long time, and it's based on a photo I took. I had a little photo sojourn sort of trip about, it was over a year ago now. And so I had that photo, and I thought it was a really cool spot. I took quite a few photos when I was there. But I did a kind of a nice little Photoshop sort of prep session on it, and but it's been sitting there for maybe months and months. But it had its day. And what I think is extra cool is, well, two things. The painting came together really quickly. Now, it doesn't have the pre-color mixing session that I normally do, which can speed things up, I'll be honest with you. But I have those pre-color mixing sessions because they can be good. It's nice, and it's, I think, quite educational for members in the members area too. So there's a good reasons for me to do that. But if I really just want to jump in and wail, I don't pre-mix colors on my palette. I just mix as I go. You might hear my little dog Alfie wants to get in, and I'm not going to let him because he'll be a distraction. Yeah, so you might hear a little scratch in there. So, yeah, in a case like this where you're kind of in a darker area moving into a lighter area, you're going to have that sky in there. Now, in the reference photo, initially, that's usually just white because the camera's not going to expose for the sky and the landscape where you are standing. which is what I was doing in this case. I was standing there taking my photo. I don't mind about that because I will swap in some other sort of sky using digital tools like Photoshop, which has a very, very handy sky replacement tool, which I've been using ever since they rolled it out. But for 10 years before that, I had my own techniques for replacing skies that looked just as good. The only difference was they took a lot longer, you know. So I really appreciate that faculty of Photoshop's. Now, you gotta be careful swapping in a sky and a thing, a scene like this. You don't want it to be anything super distracting that really calls attention to itself, and you wouldn't want it to be overly dark either. You want it because there's a reason why the sky was blown out in the photo. And hey, here's a tip. We're going to be getting into the book real quick, but the sky is just about always the brightest and lightest thing in your painting. Should be, and will be in most of your photos as well. So it's just something to think about. And they, by the way, on the other side of this ad for the book, we'll talk about what the darkest thing should be. Now, here's my book. The book condenses a good 10, 13 years of painting knowledge. I wanted to paint in a tonal manner when I came across this, and you can see in the book there are examples by tonal masters, and I do studies after tonal masters, and basically I just sat down and figured out the best way to get these sort of results, and I put it in the book, and there it is. And I'll send it to you anywhere on the planet for $60 US, and that's international shipping included. Now, international shipping is the greatest expense because I live in New Zealand, even though I'm, you know, an American. I live out here. Actually, I'm a New Zealander now, but yeah, that explains the accent. Okay, so what should the darkest? We know what the lightest thing in the landscape is. What is the darkest thing? Anybody? Okay, it is any vertical shape against the sky. So your trees, you know. And this is something you should be aware of. You don't want things like shadows on the ground to be really, really dark. They're never going to be as dark as those verticals against the sky. Just make a note if you didn't know it. And photos will lie about this kind of thing. Photos really clip the dynamic range. That's why so many painters like to go out and a lot of painters, masterful painters, they start their plein air. I was going to say paintings outdoors. They're plein air paintings, but they don't keep them plein air because they'll bring them into the studio. And Stapleton Kearns, he's a guy who has a great blog. You should look that up. I learned a lot off of him about 15 years ago now, but that blog is still there, I'm sure, and it's full of painting information. It's encyclopedic, and it was the best education that I think just about anyone could get. Yeah, so thanks, Stapleton. But so what he does is and he's tried it all, you know. He likes to go outdoors and make his paintings and then collect a bunch of them. And then in the winter months, he likes to finish them off, you know, give them a little time to breathe and just add a few things that are necessary. And you know who else worked like that? Anybody? You get a no prize in the comments if you guess at this time. Van Gogh, yeah, and everyone thinks he did everything outdoors, but no, I've read several books about Van Gogh, and interestingly, no, he did a lot of his work outdoors. He got the main thrust of his inspiration outdoors, but he finished off his work indoors, and that's good to know. Because I'm not into painting outdoors. I don't much like it. It's stressful wouldn't be the word. It's just I can't do the kind of things that I want to do. Tonalism isn't exactly a plein air sort of thing. What I do is really informed by nature, but it's more, I'm going to use the word synthetic, but I mean the word synthetic in the the old meaning of the word, which is a synthesis, not something that's made out of plastic. Okay, so yeah, it's more synthetic. It's more a synthesis of my feelings, my ideas about the landscape and color and composition and nature and trees and roads and all of these things mixed together, uh, expressed in the moment. You know, that's one reason why I was pretty happy this painting came together quite quickly and looked finished. Okay, finished enough. Now, I could always take a painting like this and put it back on the easel and add a bunch more strokes. So the whole early part of my painting career was doing that. And if you'd asked me back then, I would have thought I'm always going to be doing that. But I really hesitate these days. I did do one like put one up on the easel that needed to have some things fixed. You know, it's not an awesome painting, but it's a saleable painting of one of these sort of more touristy sort of scenes that I haven't been sharing on the YouTube as much. They don't seem to be that. You guys just don't seem to be that into them. And you know what? Don't It doesn't matter to me too much because I do a lot of paintings. You guys don't see. You don't see them all. I guess that's what I'd say. All right, let's get into some tips and insights. So we'll get back to that ground color. That really is so critical because in a lot of cases I might want to do just sort of a thinner kind of thing, and that's one thing you can see that area, the passage I just did. I just kind of running a lightish amount of light as far as the quantity of paint, not the color of paint over the ground color to sort of set things up. And because I want that kind of reddish brown bit peeking through, it's just making everything feel natural and integrated. So there's a huge difference there between tonal painting and impressionism. Usually with impressionism, you might tone your canvas. I don't know, you know, you could do, but a lot of times you're starting with a white canvas and or a bright canvas, and it isn't toned. Now, toning the board was an innovation of the old masters because it is a huge time saver. You do not have, if you zoom into any of the old master paintings, you'll see little bits of that brown canvas peeking around just about every figure and everything. You know, you've got to be very zoomed in. It's the same thing with my work, and that's one reason why when people come into my studio, they think that I'm, you know, painting like an old master or a traditional painter, which I am. You know, the tonalists definitely carried that forward, but what they changed, what they innovated along with the impressionists was a more dynamic approach to painting. You know what? I have, well, we got, you know, I'm rambling here, but as always, hopefully you're used to it, and hopefully you're getting some good insights. But I have a book on Constable. A lot of people come out here and compare me to Constable because they know Constable, but my work doesn't look that much like Constable. But when I was in England, they had a great big giant retrospective show, and they put out a really beautiful hardbound book. And in that book is everything he ever did, pretty much, most of it in color. I think almost all of it. Some things aren't, but what's amazing is to see his color sketches are so dynamic and beautiful. His small color sketches could be done by a regular painter, I mean a modern painter, somebody, not a regular painter. Yeah, I'm doing a great job of communicating today, but hopefully you're getting what I'm saying. That's why I picked up the book. I really don't much. I respect Constable, especially you see his drawings of trees and things. They're incredible. He was incredible and absolutely an influence, you know, in some ways. But in a lot of ways, I don't love his giant paintings, but I love these sketches. And it was really kind of the sort of thing that became popular, you know, just a generation later with the tonalists, where they said, in fact, you look at George Ness, his early paintings had that really tight, lots of going back and lots of working the scene over and over, so all the brushstrokes get quite small. We're here. We want a fresh approach, and that's what I did here. And hopefully, you liked watching me do it, and you'll come back and watch some more later. And until I do come back with another video for your edification and enjoyment, hopefully for your edification, do me a favor, do me a solid, take good care of yourself, your family, all of your loved ones. Stay out of trouble. God bless you and your family, and fight the power.